This is the Emergency Medical Minute, sponsored by Mile High Ambulance. The Emergency Medical Minute is excited to announce that we are now offering AMA, PRA, Category 1 credits. This is accessible through our online course modules that can be accessed at www.emergencymedicalminute.org/CME-courses, or simply by clicking on the link in our show notes and creating an account.
All right, I was minding my own business in room 26, and then we had a patient who was a polysubstance abuser punch a couple of staff members and then make a run for it. And in the end, for patient safety, it ended with the dog pile subduing the patient in the hallway. Anyway, it got me thinking, unfortunately we laugh, but it was a dangerous situation for us and a dangerous situation for the patient, and we prefer not to have these types of encounters in the department. So how many feel that they have at one time or another been physically assaulted by a patient? So I'm seeing, definitely over half of the hands raised. And who's witnessed somebody else being assaulted by a patient? So that's like almost 100% of the hands. So that's the environment we work on. I think the main emergency nurses association is ENA, right? Do I have that correct? And then for physicians, it's ACEP, American College of Emergency Physicians. So ACEP did a survey a few years ago, 2018, and they sent out to 32,000 physicians a survey, and they got about a 10% response rate, which is lousy, but still represents a lot of physicians. And it was specifically targeting violence in the workplace. So how many had been assaulted in the ED? It was almost half, 47% said they'd been assaulted. 71% said they'd witnessed an assault. And then another interesting question they asked was, did the hospital respond? And 28% said that the patient was just flagged for behavioral issues in the chart. 21% said that the patient was arrested by the PD or by hospital security, which I thought was weird terminology. I guess there are some places where hospital security can actually perform an arrest. The hospital decided to press charges in 6% of the cases, and then the staff member themselves was advised in 3% of the case to press charges. And then it was just listed as other in 42%, so the patient was like restrained or removed from the department. And then the nature of the assault, most common was getting hit or slapped, 44%, spit on, 30%, punched was 28%, kicked 27%, scratched 17%, bite 6%, assault with a weapon 2%, sexual assault, really disturbing, 1%, and then other was just listed as 13%. Anybody have any other creative methods of assault that they have? Emotional, verbal abuse is like off the charts, right? Yeah. So interestingly, if you have concerns or interest in this area, there's a cool website that was set up. ACEP and ENA together launched an initiative called No Silence on ED Violence. And so there's a website called stopedviolence.org. It actually has cool resources on there, studies about ED violence. It actually has listed protocols that you can institute in your department, or even like floor layout and architectural designs that you can design your department better so there's less violence. But I would just say, don't just let it slide if you get even kind of a minor assault by a patient. And Andy, I don't know if you have any particular comment about anything that should be done in terms of charge nurse or hospital policy.
Yeah, at any point, if you're ever assaulted, definitely let charge know. We'll let EPD up at the front desk know. They're very responsive with us pressing charges. They'll always send an officer out. So if ever there's anything like that, let us know, and we'll have security involved, and we'll get EPD involved, and they're happy to come out and take a report and do all that. Like, it can definitely be a process sometimes, but it's worth it. And it's one of those things where we have to keep ourselves safe, and really starts with everybody just kind of being accountable for reporting it, not blowing it off or pushing it under the rug when it happens, because it does happen a lot.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, obviously, with a smile on our faces, we all enjoy kind of the Wild West environment in the emergency department. It's part of the reason we stick around. But at the same time, like Andy said, it's not something you should have to tolerate, and don't hesitate to report when you do see it with others or experiencing it yourself. So, thanks.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, Health One Continental Division, and Swedish Medical Center for their financial contributions to the EMM. Donations from them and listeners like you make it possible for us to fulfill our mission of producing and spreading free medical education to the masses. If you enjoy our show, please consider making a one-time or recurring donation to help cover our operational costs and keep the EMM awesome. Click on the link in our show notes to make a donation. Thank you for listening.